Don't spend that Washington quarter just yet. Some of these coins look common, but rare dates, mint marks, and errors can make them worth way more than 25 cents. Stay tuned. I'll show you which Washington quarters are hiding real value in your pocket change. One such treasure is the 1990 Washington quarter-dollar coin. While most examples of this coin are only worth their face value of 25 cents, there exists a rare and extraordinary variety that can command prices between $50,000 and $125,000, depending on condition and rarity. The idea that such a modern coin, something that still feels relatively new, could reach that level of value is what makes the 1990 Washington quarter a legend among collectors. To understand why this particular quarter stands out, we need to go back to the origins of the Washington quarter itself. First minted in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the design by sculptor John Flanagan featured a left-facing bust of the nation's first president on the obverse and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. Over the decades, this design became a staple of American coinage, enduring through world wars, economic changes, and shifts in minting technology. By the time 1990 arrived, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for nearly 6 decades, but the changes to its composition had already shaped its place in numismatic history. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them intrinsic value tied to the price of silver. But rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a clad composition of copper and nickel, a change that made post-1965 quarters far less valuable in terms of their metal content. The 1990 Washington quarter belongs to this clad era. To most people, this makes it just another coin. However, numismatics isn't always about the precious metals within a coin. It's about rarity, condition, and sometimes the mistakes that slip through the minting process. The 1990 Washington quarter was minted at Philadelphia and Denver, with coins carrying either no mint mark for Philadelphia or a D mint mark for Denver. San Francisco also produced proof versions for collectors, carrying the S mint mark. For the average person, all these quarters looked identical. Shiny, with Washington's profile on the front and the eagle on the back. But deep within the minting process, a tiny error occurred that would turn a handful of these coins into priceless rarities. The most famous rarity tied to the 1990 quarter comes from the proof sets. Proof coins are specially struck coins made for collectors, created using polished dies and planchets that produce a mirror-like surface and incredibly sharp details. These are not meant for circulation, but for serious collectors. In 1990, proof quarters were struck at the San Francisco Mint and should have carried the S mint mark on the obverse. But a few escaped the mint without that crucial S. These no-S proof quarters instantly became a sensation. Their rarity is undeniable because proof coins are closely monitored, and mint mark errors are incredibly rare. The absence of that small S transforms what should be a collectible worth a few dollars into a numismatic giant worth between $50,000 and $125,000. To appreciate why this is so remarkable, think about the process of proof coin production. Each die is carefully prepared, and each strike is monitored with care. For a coin to slip through without its mint mark suggests a very specific mistake, one that only affected a tiny batch. The fact that collectors even found them is astonishing. Imagine someone opening their 1990 proof set, expecting the usual pristine collection of coins, and noticing that the quarter looked just a little different. A closer inspection revealed that the S mint mark, which should have been visible just below Washington's portrait, was missing. That discovery changed everything. Over the years, these no-S proof quarters have appeared at auctions, each time igniting bidding wars among collectors who know just how scarce they are. Some of the finest known examples have sold for 6-figure sums, demonstrating that even modern coins can rival ancient rarities in terms of value. The $50,000 to $125,000 range may sound unbelievable for a coin that's just over 3 decades old, but that's the power of rarity combined with demand. And it's not just the no-S proof quarter that draws attention. Even regular circulation strikes of the 1990 quarter can have value if they are found in extraordinary condition. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher are scarce because quarters are heavily circulated, which means they quickly pick up scratches, dings, and wear. Collectors will pay premiums for quarters that have somehow survived decades without ever showing signs of circulation. But of course, It is the dramatic no-S variety that commands the headlines. Auction houses love showcasing the 1990 no-S quarter, not just because of its value but because of its story. A modern coin with a simple minting oversight becoming one of the most valuable quarters in existence is the kind of narrative that excites collectors and casual viewers alike. For someone who doesn't collect coins, it's hard to fathom that a small detail like a missing mint mark could make a coin worth as much as a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. But in numismatics, those small details mean everything. The discovery of these coins also fueled a new wave of interest in checking proof sets and ordinary pocket change. Collectors and even casual hobbyists began taking a closer look at their coins, hoping to uncover a hidden gem. That sense of possibility is one of the reasons coin collecting remains so popular. The idea that a coin you already own, or one you stumble across in an old drawer, might be worth $125,000 is enough to capture anyone's imagination. But let's consider what this really means. A 1990 Washington quarter without its S mint mark is essentially a mistake. And yet, rather than being a flaw that diminishes value, that mistake is precisely what makes it so prized. This is a recurring theme in the world of rare coins. The very things that were unintended, the errors and oversights, become the treasures that collectors chase for generations. It's a fascinating paradox that adds to the allure of coin collecting. For those lucky enough to own one of these rare 1990 quarters, the decision of what to do with it is not always simple. Some may choose to hold onto it, watching its value rise over time as its rarity becomes even more pronounced. Others may take it to auction, where the excitement of competitive bidding drives the price upward. Each time one appears on the market, it makes waves in the numismatic community, because no one knows when the next one will surface. The cultural significance of this coin also cannot be overlooked. George Washington's image on the quarter has been a constant reminder of America's history and values, but in the case of the 1990 no-S quarter, it also represents the unpredictability of the minting process and the way mistakes can sometimes lead to greatness. For collectors, it is not just about the money. It's about owning a piece of history, a symbol of rarity that connects them to the broader story of U.S. coinage. So, the next time you come across a quarter from 1990, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, especially if it came from a proof set. Look for that S mint mark on the obverse. If it's missing, you may just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in modern American history. What was once a 25-cent coin could instead be a prize worth between $50,000 and $125,000, capable of transforming your collection or your bank account in an instant. That's the thrill of numismatics, the realization that treasures often hide in plain sight. A simple quarter, struck in 1990, has the power to astonish the world with its story and its value. And somewhere out there, perhaps in a collection that hasn't been opened in decades, another no-S 1990 quarter may be waiting to be discovered, ready to remind us all that even the most ordinary coin can carry extraordinary worth. The 1997 Washington $quarter coin might seem like just another common piece of change, something that jingles in your pocket and goes unnoticed in everyday transactions. Millions of these coins were minted that year, and for most people, a 1997 quarter is worth exactly 25 cents. But for those who know what to look for, the story is far more thrilling. Hidden among these ordinary-looking coins are rare varieties and minting errors that have taken the collecting world by storm. These are the kinds of discoveries that make coin collecting exciting, because a coin that seems so ordinary can, under the right circumstances, sell for an incredible price. In fact, certain 1997 Washington quarters have been valued at staggering amounts, ranging anywhere from $42,000 to $110,000, turning a humble quarter into a true numismatic treasure. The Washington quarter has been a familiar part of American life since 1932, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. For decades, his portrait has remained on the obverse, a symbol of leadership and strength. By 1997, the coin was part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, just before the United States Mint launched the incredibly popular 50-state quarters program in 1999. That makes the 1997 issue one of the last of the classic design style, minted in massive numbers but not typically considered rare by the average person. This is exactly what makes its hidden treasures so exciting. Most people overlook it Yet certain examples have become worth tens of thousands of dollars. To understand why, we need to take a closer look at how value is created in numismatics. Rarity and condition are the two biggest drivers. The majority of 1997 quarters circulated heavily, becoming scratched, worn, and dulled from years of use. But a small number survived in pristine condition, with sharp details and mirror-like luster. These coins, when graded at the highest mint state levels by professional services, already command attention from collectors. Add in a dramatic mint error or rare variety, and suddenly that quarter worth 25 cents transforms into a coin that collectors will battle for at auction. Error coins are particularly fascinating. Mistakes at the mint are not supposed to happen, but when they do, they often create coins that are unique and highly desirable. Some 1997 Washington quarters have been found struck off-center, where part of the design is missing and the blank planchet shows on one side. Others have been double-struck, with two overlapping images that create a surreal effect. There are even instances where a 1997 quarter was struck on the wrong planchet, such as one meant for a dime or a foreign coin. These dramatic errors immediately separate such coins from the billions of ordinary ones and push their value into the tens of thousands. Imagine stumbling upon a 1997 quarter in your pocket change, only to notice that the image of Washington's face is shifted dramatically to one side. At first glance, it might seem like a mistake so obvious it couldn't possibly be valuable, but to a collector, that off-center strike could be worth thousands. And in extreme cases, where the error is significant yet still shows enough of the design to be appealing, the value can soar into that incredible $42,000 to $110,000 range. It's these possibilities that keep collectors scouring through rolls of coins, searching for the hidden gems that others miss. High-grade examples of the 1997 quarter also play an important role in its story. Collectors prize coins graded at MS 67 or higher, with sharp details and no visible marks. Such coins are rare because the vast majority never leave the mint in flawless condition, and those that do are often quickly damaged once they enter circulation. But when a perfect or near-perfect coin is preserved, it becomes a prize worth fighting for. Auctions have shown how much demand exists for such pieces, with collectors driving prices higher and higher for the best of the best. The Washington Quarter series itself carries immense historical weight. George Washington's portrait has remained on the obverse for decades, while the reverse still carried the eagle design in 1997. Just 2 years later, the state quarters would change everything, with each new release celebrating a different state and sparking massive public interest in coin collecting. That means the 1997 issue represents the end of an era, the last of the traditional design before the U.S. Mint reinvented the quarter. Collectors often value these transitional coins because they capture a moment in history just before a major shift. Some of the most fascinating stories in the coin world come from unexpected discoveries. There are tales of people finding rare 1997 quarters in everyday change, not realizing their true value until years later. A coin tucked away in a drawer, a piggy bank, or a roll of quarters from the bank could turn out to be something extraordinary. This accessibility makes the 1997 quarter so intriguing, because unlike ancient coins or early American rarities, this is a coin that people alive today have handled countless times. That means the chance to find one still exists for ordinary people, and that possibility keeps the hunt alive. Auction results only add fuel to the fire. Collectors have witnessed rare 1997 quarters, whether pristine examples or dramatic errors, achieve staggering prices under the hammer. The buzz created by a coin jumping from pocket change to a six-figure sale captures attention well beyond the coin collecting community. It's the kind of story that makes headlines, where a simple quarter ends up worth as much as a luxury car or even a small house. Hearing that a 1997 Washington quarter can fetch between $42,000 and $110,000 makes people look twice at the coins in their pockets. For collectors, the appeal is not just financial but historical and artistic as well. Owning a rare 1997 quarter means holding onto a piece of American history, a coin that represents the enduring legacy of George Washington and the transition to a new era in U.S. coinage. It combines the thrill of treasure hunting with the satisfaction of preserving history. And for those lucky enough to own one of the rarest and most valuable specimens, it is a badge of honor in the collecting world. The lesson of the 1997 Washington quarter-dollar coin is clear. Never underestimate the power of ordinary-looking coins. While most may only ever be worth 25 cents, some carry hidden traits that catapult them into the realm of extraordinary value. Whether through flawless condition, dramatic minting errors, or their place in history, these coins can change the life of someone lucky enough to find one. So the next time you have spare change in your hand, take a closer look. That 1997 quarter could be more than just another coin. It could be a hidden treasure, a numismatic gem waiting to be discovered, with the potential to be worth anywhere from $42,000 to $110,000. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Ordinary objects hold extraordinary secrets, and sometimes the smallest treasures carry the greatest surprises. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out some loose change, and finding a quarter. At first glance, it looks like any other coin you might use to feed a parking meter or buy something from a vending machine. But then you notice the design. It's the Texas State Quarter from 2004. You think nothing of it at first, but what if I told you that very coin could be hiding an incredible secret? That some 2004 Texas State $quarter coins are worth not just 25 cents, but an astonishing $38,000 to $94,000 depending on their condition and rarity. Suddenly, that piece of change you almost spent without a thought becomes a small treasure with a life-changing story behind it. The U.S. 2004 Texas State Quarter belongs to one of the most successful coin programs in American history, the 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. This initiative was designed to honor each state in the Union with a unique quarter design, released in the order that states entered the Union. Texas, the Lone Star State, joined in 1845 as the 28th state, and so its quarter was released in 2004. Millions of these coins were minted, and people across the country were excited to collect them. For many families, filling up a coin map with each new release became a tradition, and the Texas quarter stood out with its bold and patriotic design. The design of the Texas quarter captures the pride and independence that the state is known for. On the reverse, you'll see the outline of the state itself with a large lone star superimposed over it. To the left is a rope encircling the design, symbolizing the state's frontier heritage and unity. The simple yet striking design reflects Texas's motto, the Lone Star State. It was created by artist Daniel Miller and sculpted by U.S. Mint engraver Norman E. Namath, and it instantly became a favorite among collectors not just in Texas, but nationwide. The obverse carries the familiar portrait of George Washington, redesigned for the state quarters by sculptor John Flanagan and William Cousins. Now, millions of these coins were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and a number of proof versions came from San Francisco as well. With such large production numbers, you might wonder how any single coin could reach values between $38,000 and $94,000. The secret lies in rarity, condition, and the quirks of minting. While most 2004 Texas quarters are worth face value or perhaps a couple of dollars to casual collectors, certain examples in pristine condition or with extraordinary mint errors can fetch staggering sums at auction. Imagine a Texas quarter struck with absolute perfection, flawless surfaces, and mirror-like luster. Such a coin, when graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at the highest levels, say MS69 or MS70, can soar in value because collectors want nothing but the best for their sets. When multiple collectors are competing for such a flawless example, the bidding wars can push the price into the tens of thousands. That's where numbers like $38,000 to $94,000 come into play. And then there are error coins. These are the true wild cards of coin collecting. Errors occur during the minting process, and while the mint strives for precision, mistakes still happen. A 2004 Texas State quarter might have been struck off-center, giving it a dramatic misalignment. Others could be double-struck, where the coin is imprinted twice, leaving a ghostly overlapping image. Still others might be struck on the wrong planchet altogether. Imagine a quarter design appearing on a nickel-sized blank or even on a foreign coin blank. These are the types of mistakes that collectors dream of finding, because they are incredibly rare and valuable. One such error, combined with the popularity of the Texas design, could easily catapult a coin's value into the $38,000 to $94,000 range. The story of coins like this captures people's imaginations because it blends everyday life with the extraordinary. Think about it. A quarter you might receive as change at a gas station or grocery store could, under the right circumstances, be worth more than a luxury car. This is why collectors carefully check their coins, scrutinizing every detail with magnifying glasses, weighing them, and sending them off for certification. And every so often, someone does uncover one of these gems, turning a pocket find into a small fortune. The Texas quarter also has an emotional and cultural resonance that adds to its appeal. Texans take immense pride in their state, often seeing it not just as part of the Union but as a land with its own unique identity and history. The Lone Star itself is a symbol of independence and resilience, representing Texas's one-time status as an independent republic before joining the United States. Collectors from Texas often feel a special attachment to this coin, and when pride and collecting passion combine, prices rise higher than you might expect. Stories from auctions prove just how serious the market can get. Over the years, we've seen state quarters in exceptional condition or with striking errors bring in eye-popping amounts. Bidders from around the country, and sometimes around the world, compete fiercely for coins like the Texas quarter when they appear at auction. What starts at a modest opening bid can quickly escalate into a frenzy, with prices climbing higher and higher until the final hammer falls. It's in those moments that a 25-cent piece transforms into a $94,000 treasure, cementing its place in numismatic history. Another important aspect that fuels value is scarcity within condition. While millions of Texas quarters exist, only a handful might grade at the highest levels. Out of all the coins struck in 2004, maybe just a tiny fraction remain flawless decades later. The journey of most coins involves being passed from hand to hand, jostled around in change jars, or tossed into vending machines. That's why uncirculated, pristine coins are so rare and so coveted. Proofs, too, play a role here. Special coins struck for collectors with high-quality finishes can bring thousands when perfectly preserved, and certain errors among proofs are even more valuable, so the big takeaway is this. Not every Texas quarter will make you rich, but some hold hidden wealth that most people overlook. This creates a thrilling treasure-hunting aspect for collectors and even casual enthusiasts. Anyone, at any time, could stumble across a rare example worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's that element of possibility that makes the 2004 Texas State Quarter one of the most fascinating stories of modern U.S. coinage. Think for a moment about what $38,000 to $94,000 could mean. At the lower end, you could pay off student loans, buy a new car, or fund a dream trip. At the higher end, you could make a down payment on a house, invest in your future, or simply enjoy the life-changing knowledge that a single coin gave you financial freedom. And all of that comes from a coin most people wouldn't even bother bending down to pick up if they saw it lying on the ground. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's an adventure, a chance to connect with history, art, and possibility. The Texas quarter may only weigh a little over 5 grams, but it carries a weight far greater in meaning and potential. For some lucky collectors, it carries the weight of tens of thousands of dollars, a fortune hidden in plain sight. So the next time you find a 2004 Texas State Quarter, don't just toss it aside. Look closely. Examine the details. Could it be flawless? Could it carry an unusual error? Could it be one of the rare examples destined to shock the auction world? If so, that little coin in your hand might not just be worth 25 cents. It could be worth as much as $94,000. And that's a story worth telling, and a treasure worth hunting for.